Hi, so if you've got to this video, you're going to be interested in understanding how the grading for the reading assignment goes. Now, I do want to emphasize, as we set out in the video above, that there are only 4 readings that can actually count towards your portfolio. They don't all count. Of those 4, maximum of 3 out of the 4, because you have to have one quiz that counts, and a minimum of 1. So we just want to make sure you go in and have a go at least 1, right, to understand how it goes. Now, the best way to understand the marking is for you to go in prior to the official grading start and have a go at weeks 1, 2, 3, and 4, okay? Because that'll give you a sense of where you're going to sit in terms of the grading. But what we've got is this document that's attached to this announcement and also in the assessment page that sets out how we're going to grade your performance on the reading. Okay, so let's have a look at the document. So as you can see, the aim of the system is to improve preparation, and we want to make sure that you're going through and understanding the material as we go through. We also understand that it's been a bit difficult recently in terms of learning, and a lot of it's been solo, and a lot of you still may be doing it solo. You may be isolated, etc. So what we're trying to do is to use a social reading platform that will get interaction, because we know we learn a lot better with social interaction, and that's what this system is designed to do. Okay. So we've got another video where we show you how to log into Perusall and how to use it, so we can look at that there. This video is just about how we're going to grade it. Okay, so the first thing I want to make you aware of is that there's lots of resources on using Perusall. So if you click the link in the document, it will take you to a whole lot of material. I'm not going to go through that here because we've got another video that looks at that. So how will you actually be marked and graded? Okay, so each reading is worth up to 10 marks, which we scale back to 5%. So it's like the quizzes, right? In your portfolio, which is worth 20% in total, you will have 4 pieces, one of which must be a quiz and one of which must be a reading. So each of those 4 are worth 5%. Then we actually give 10 marks and then halve it. Okay, so that's the way it works. So how can you get your 10 marks in the reading? Well, we actually have 6 criteria that we're using. One criteria is simply engagement. Do you open the material and look? Do you engage? Right? If you don't open it, you can't get any marks. Okay. Now, because it's social and you're interacting to each other, it's not just about opening it, it's about going back in. Okay, you can get 2 marks for going into it, 2 out of 10, right, for going into it a number of times. The second thing that we look at is coverage. So how much of the document do you read? Okay, so if you just go in and look at the first couple of pages, you're not going to score many marks. Okay, if you go over the whole thing, okay, then you can get up to 2 marks. Right? We also have active engagement or reading time. So we know how long you're spending in there. So if you go in and just flick through the entire thing, you know, in 2 minutes, okay, you may get some marks for opening it up. You may get even 2 marks for the coverage, but you're not going to get many marks in terms of active reading. So we've got 2 marks for how long you're in the material. Okay, then we have a comment, then we have marks for comments that you make that stimulate your colleagues. Okay, you gain marks for writing a comment that elicits responses from your colleagues. You can get up to 2 marks for that. We also have marks for upvoting. Okay, so there's an ability there to agree with someone or to say, yes, I want that question answered. So simple like thumbs up and hearts, that kind of thing that you all know from social media. You can get up to 2 marks for reading people's comments and upvoting those that you agree with. And finally, the big one is there's 6 marks for your annotations or contributions. So when you make a comment, etc., there are marks awarded to it. That mark is based upon, you know, a certain volume of comments that you make. It's based upon how insightful the comments are. So we look at the comments and it can either be a 1, 2, or 3. And then we also look at how they're distributed. So like if you just go in and make 10 comments on the first page, that's going to be adjusted down because we're not sure that you're going through and engaging with all the material. Okay, so it's about the contributions. So what you'll notice is if you add up all those marks, there's more than 10 marks available. In fact, there's 16 marks available. So it's the highest combination of those marks that will give you your end score. We top it, of course, at 10. The most you can get is 10 out of 10, right? So because that can sound a bit confusing, I just want to summarize, right? You get marks for opening it and engaging with it. You get marks for going through the full document. You get marks for how long you spend reading it. You get marks for making comments. You get marks for comments that get others to comment. And you get marks for engaging with others' comments by upvoting, etc. Okay? So because that can be a bit confusing, let's look at 4 prototypical students and how they would be graded based upon these criteria. So this would be an actual application of the criteria that we've got running in the system. So we've got this student, Apathetic Alan. What does Apathetic Alan do? They open a document and they read 4 out of 40 pages in 2 minutes. Right? So they've done the minimum. They've just opened it, looked at 4 pages, gotten out. They're going to score a 1 for engagement, a 1 out of 2 for engagement, a 1 out of 2 for coverage, a 0.2 for active reading, score 2.2 out of 10. Okay, that's how many marks they'd get for doing this. Let's look at this student now, Insular Ingrid. So Ingrid's the kind of person who reads and does everything, but actually doesn't actively engage or comment or do anything there. So she opens a document 4 times over the 2 weeks it's open, reads the entire document, spends an hour reading the document and reading what other students are doing. So it's a lurker, right? I could have called it Lurker Lara, but Insular Ingrid was probably less problematic. Anyway, so what's it going to score? Full marks for engagement, full marks for coverage, full marks for active reading, 2, 4, 6, but 0 around the interaction because there's no interaction. So what's Insular Ingrid going to score? 6 out of 10. It's going to pass because you've gone through the material. But we're not sure you're actually questioning and engaging and thinking about it. All we know is that you've gone in and you've gone through it enough for us to be confident that you've gone through it. Okay, what about Competent Caitlin? What does Competent Caitlin do? Opens the document, reads the entire document, spends about half an hour reading and responding. Okay, half an hour. Makes 4 comments. 2 of those comments are low quality. For instance, she might type in something with I agree or me too. It doesn't really add anything. 2 of the comments might be medium quality. No one responds to her comments, so she doesn't stimulate anyone. No one upvotes her comments. She upvotes someone else's comment. So how's she going to score? 1 for engagement, 2 for coverage, 1.5 for active reading, 0 for stimulation, 0.1 for upvoting, 2.4 for annotation. She's going to score 7. She's going to score a 5, a credit. Okay, a credit for half an hour's work in there for this piece. Okay, now what about Tokina, top performing Tokina? Opens a document twice over the 2 weeks, reads the entire document, spends about 3/4 an hour, makes 5 comments, 1 high quality, 3 medium, 1 low quality. 1 person responds to a comment, so she stimulates someone. She upvotes 5 comments. Full marks for engagement, full marks for coverage, full marks for active reading, 0.4 for stimulating because she got someone to respond, 0.4 in terms of upvoting, 4 out of 6 for the annotating score that she did, which means in total she scored 10.8. Right, so she didn't need to score full marks and everything, but she got 10.8, which means 10 out of 10, high distinction. Okay, so that's what a high distinction. What would happen if you're overachieving Owen, who opens a document 4 times, reads it 3 times, spends 2 hours, makes 7 comments, has colleagues responding, upvotes 15 comments. Okay, they're going to score full marks or 16 out of 16. So it is possible to get full marks. They're going to score 10 out of 10. But I hope that you see that we're not expecting an extraordinary level of work in order to be able to gain full marks. Most of the marks, you can score a lot of the marks by making thoughtful comments in the document and interacting in a social way with your colleagues. Okay, so hopefully that gives you some insight into how the grading works. As I said, the best thing I think for you to do is to make sure that you have a go in weeks 1, 2, and 3, and I think 4, so that you understand how the system works. You know what level of work is required to get a certain score, because they will be graded, but they won't count. So you'll get feedback as to how you're doing before we actually get to the portfolio where those marks count. Okay, remember, BSB inquiries, emails, if anything's unclear. Thanks.